r/AskReddit. What do you think is the most interesting psychology phenomeno? If you're talking to someone intently and you hand them something, more often than not they'll take it. Doesn't matter if it's a book, a pen, or an orange. No idea what the phenomenon is called or if it's even psychological, but it's made for some great pranks. In the same vein, you can look straight up towards the sky in a public location, and everyone else around you will look up, too. Similar results if you start screaming on a flight. Especially when you're the pilot. Locus of control, LOC. LOC basically is how you view control over your own life. People either have an internal LOC where they believe they have the power to control their own lives, or an external LOC where you believe everything in life comes from a source other than yourself. I got fired because my boss hates me, I was late because traffic, etc. Now, what's interesting is that studies have shown people with an internal LOC find greater satisfaction and success in almost every aspect of life, except one, being in a nursing home. Drives internal LOC people crazy while external LOC people thrive. Wow, the nursing home bit is very fascinating. My grandmother did surprisingly well in a nursing home, and I think this probably explains why. I know for a fact I would hate living in one. Prospect theory, the idea that people perceive gain and loss unequally, where a loss has about twice as much impact on a person as a gain of same amount. People will take unnecessary risks to avoid loss. Like why I didn't cash in all my crypto at 20k. Tragic man. Cotard delusion, aka walking corpse syndrome, where the sufferer genuinely believes that they are dead, don't exist, or have no internal organs. Absolutely crazy. I can't imagine what it feels like walking around feeling actually, genuinely dead. I experienced this for a period of time after my dad passed away when I was young. It was terrifying and traumatic. I felt as if I was hollow inside, with no organs or vessels, just empty muscle, and was a ghost that everyone else could see. Thankfully those delusions don't plague my life anymore, but it was so dark and awful. Childhood amnesia. The fact that up until a certain point you don't remember things. My first memory isn't until I was 6. My wife's is when she was 2. Hers seemed to be emotionally based. So they're sparse and fleeting. Mine are like I just suddenly had a switch flipped, and there I was. You skipped your backstory. The placebo effect. The idea that belief in something can actually have a positive impact on the body just seems so crazy to me. Also helped me realize inversely why stress and anxiety can take such a toll on you. Funny enough, placebo also works. When you know it's placebo, somehow, deep down, there is something in you that wants to believe despite all reasonable arguments against it. Also nocebo is a thing. When you expect something to harm you, it will. It makes a lot of treatments complicated. On one hand you want the patient aware of the side effects, on the other, you don't want them to generate them by the nocebo effect. Also nocebo is a thing. When you expect something to harm you, it will. Parenting 101, if you don't freak out about it, your toddler is indestructible. I have seen something similar with my own eyes. Worked at a kids camp, they had a giant toboggan slide that was on wheels, and it went fast, like in the 20-mile-an-hour range-ish. At least a few kids a day would hit the slide wrong and get catapulted/hit something, and the staff and parents would have to deal with it. Not very fun, but the vast majority of people made it out fine, so meh I guess. Anyway, one day I was at the bottom, and saw what I can only describe as a train wreck heading for me. 2 kids in one slide, followed closely by a third kid in his own who was older and weighed as much as the first 2 combined. Now they were close enough together that they probably wouldn't be hurt. But then the smaller kid, sitting behind his brother, well, he pushed his brother off the front of the lead sled. Yeah, you ever see that gif of a guy getting sucked into a snowmobile? It was a lot like that. Little kid got run over by both sleds and dragged about 5 feet. He could have been seriously hurt if I'm being honest. I expected tears and pain and blood. But he just kind of sat there, wondering what happened, and his dad, in the coolest, most dad way possible, just said, "Hop up, bud, you're blocking the slide. Let's get ice cream." And he stood up, walked to his dad, who picked him up and walked to get a few band-aids and ice cream. No tears, no broken bones, and one chill dad who saved the day and had one hell of a don't tell mom story. The rest of us just kind of looked at each other and said, "Did that just happen?" Work at a family park catered to 2 to 12-year-olds, once saw a kid annihilate themselves on a slide and damn near got half their face scraped off. Nothing life-threatening or disfiguring, but it looked nasty even when they had cleaned off the blood and loose bits of skin. Kid was just fine, continued having fun in the park now with a bunch of disinfectant-soaked bandages taped to their face. I don't even think the kid cried beyond the initluo. If you get yourself to be really happy and excited to see other people, they will react the same to you. It doesn't always happen the first time, but it will definitely happen next time. Time and again this has always worked fine for me. How do you do that? Just act like a dog. Dogs are always excited to see people. So wag my butt and lick their face. If that doesn't work, try wagging your face and lick their butt. Gotta get that side to side motion, yeah. How I can have a surprise in my dream. Like something will happen and I'll be confused about it, then someone will explain it by giving new information, and then it makes sense. But all of this is created by my own brain while I'm dreaming. How can I reveal new information to myself to explain something? This also fascinates me. My brain has created things in my dreams that baffles me to this day, but isn't my brain supposed to be me? So where are these creations coming from? I have a roommate that never really opens their door, and I've only caught the briefest of glances into their room as he exits it. So I had no real idea what their room looked like. One night though I had a dream and my mind decided to stitch all these memory fragments together and recreated his room in my dream. Then when a couple days later I actually stepped into his room for the first time to check something out for him, it felt like I'd been there before and my brain made a pretty accurate full representation. It felt crazy. For me, in my dream, I mixed and matched some stuff to do some cooking, and in my dream it actually tasted good. When I tried it IRL, cause why not, it was actually good. Almost the same taste as well. I never did anything like that before though, and don't think I ever saw any recipe that looked like it. Well, what did you cook? I'm curious now, lol. Took sugar, about 2 tablespoons of it, put some honey, a lot of barbecue sauce, some black pepper, optional, a bit of hot water to mix it apl together smoothly. Dipped pork chops in it and put it in the oven on aluminum foil. Turned it around each 15 minutes and sprinkling some of 5he remaining sauce on it each time until it is cooked. Edit, mince.